guys, this is going to be part 8 of rebuild, restore, repair, refurbish, whatever you want to call it, of Moon Patrol. So anybody that's here and made it this far, I'd really appreciate if you would subscribe and put a like and maybe share with somebody that you might think finds this, I don't know, watchable. So I am going to start breaking all this heavy stuff down. Mind you, being careful in the corners here, because this will all have to be hand sanded. I'll get as close as I can, and then I'll have to hand sand that. There we go. And we'll come on after I get this mess somewhat straightened around. Now I've let this Bondo dry for a few days, and I learned this lesson because Bondo shrinks after a little bit, and I'm hoping that when I am doing this large repairs here in the front, that especially that little circle that was right here, that the Bondo stays connected to the wood and doesn't shrink and then leave a circle crack all the way around it. Hope that makes sense. Alright guys, so I had a little chip here I didn't see, or it developed after I sanded. A little chip here still, and a couple big air pockets in that, and then I just recovered this to sand it back off, I guess. So other than that, it was all pretty smooth. So I'm gonna wait for this to dry. Sponge sanded these sides. It's a little bit of a warping right here. I can feel the wood going like this. Not much I'm gonna do with that. So the inside of the front door, after I get this Bondo sanded, should be good for paint. So that means I'll probably start packing these rails Bondo in the demolding slot.
It facilitated alcoholism without the attendant weight gain, and they really switched. Now we're all lager men. Lager light. We're light in the beer, not in the loafers.
You're listening to Lisbon's own Pirate Radio 97.9, music for Gen X.
It's for you.
Alright, I'm not sure how the speaker grate comes out, and I'm starting to think this whole panel comes out. The speaker, the wood, this front edge, this grate, I think it all slides off there. Okay guys, excuse me. So I went through and packed this T-molding slot, and I kind of sanded this one already, except for up here. You can see I sanded the top down, smoothed it out. So I am going to be working on sanding this one. As you can see, it's all packed. I just want to sand it back down flat to wood, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of some of the work I got to do on the back of the machine. Then I'm going to do a flip around, turn around, flop around, finish sanding everything that I've sanded. I built up that corner a little bit more because it looked like it was, just looked like it wasn't square. So that's what I'm working on. I'm gonna sand everything and get it ready for primer. I still haven't figured out, well, I haven't really worked on it, but I haven't figured out how. I'm pretty sure this metal comes off from there, but I don't know how the screen's on there. And there's that piece of bubble gum still in there. So I'm gonna be working on that, guys. Finish sanding and then getting into the I got 3 cans of filler primer. I'm gonna do the front and the bottom on the insides and make sure I got everything sealed up. Hope that makes sense. Hope you guys are all still with me. Appreciate it. Not much water. Shit. Okay guys, so I cut a small piece of a T-molding groove. It's nice and flush on the inside. It's nice and flush here on the outside. So if you remember on NARC, I built me a little T-molding sizer that I basically just space it with tape however I need it. I've went through about 3 small pieces like this to get the right cut on both sides. The outside is definitely trimmed more than the inside, but both sides are trimmed and look uniform between one another. So yeah, hopefully it all works out in the end, guys. We'll see. Alright, so as you can see, I have it marked inside. You might have saw it on the last clip. I don't know if it was in there. And this is the T-molding cutter. This will just go in the vise. I'll get my T-molding all stretched out. I'll clamp this over here and just start having my wife just continually grab a hold of it and just start making a straight line backwards as steady as possible. No stopping, no starting, just straight cut. Maybe we'll set up a tripod and do it. I don't remember if I did for NARC or not. Okay, so gentlemen, I fixed the hole that was in this rounded over edge. As I was sanding across here, of course, with a heavy grit, I kind of caught the very little thin side of the wood and it broke it away. And in all honesty, So I bondoed it, peeled a little bit of it off that was loose and bondoed it up. When you hit over wood like that with the sander, and you know, it just kind of brings up the loose shit that you might not see with your eye, and it brings it to your attention. So anyways, I have everything bondoed up. I'll need to sand this out smooth and move on to the sides again once each real quick, and do the inside where it's black that you'll see, you know, when it's all together. And I think I'm going to start primering this, so I'll probably bring it on right before I primer, guys, so we can check it out, and then on the primer. Alright guys, got the bottom going here. I got a broken piece right here, door stop, so I'm gonna run some wood glue in here and re-clamp this down. Then I'll flip it over on its side, so this side's facing up, so the clamp on here won't be disturbed. That'll allow me to finish sanding any of the Bondo, small Bondo repairs I made on the sides. And then I'll cut the T-molding groove on this side, flip the cabinet after this is dry over, so I can do the same sanding on this side and cutting the T-molding slot. Then I think I'm gonna put it up on the milk crates so I can start you know, primering from the can, filler primering the front area and all that. So we're getting close. Alright guys, I'm about to cut the T-molding slot on this side. So wish me luck. Alright guys, so I got the sides and stuff done on here. T-molding slots cut. So I got it stood up now on a milk crate, up off the floor. I've primered the front here. It's the second coat. I still do have some sanding to do on the insides here. Just wanted to get to something different. I felt like I was so stuck for so long. I was starting to feel drugged down by this, so it felt good to paint this now. I have a little bit more shit, I painted those. Damn it. I didn't even think of that. Alright, but anyways, I'm going to start coating the bottom, sealing in that Bondo and the wood together real well with filler primer. Well, wait for it to dry, sand it down, then we'll do some surface primering. I'm going to go to tomorrow to get some wood to rebuild new back doors, because those are all warped and, well, they're just beat to hell. So anyways, going to start working on primering. I'm going to pull this power brick out, take it inside to the workbench, do any pre-wiring to it that I want done. I'm going to have to come off of the power there for the pigtail for the power supply, and I want to run some monitor, you know, find the isolation part of it for the monitor, which should be there, but you'll see when I'm doing it, guys. I digress. I'm just rambling. Okay, guys, so I finally was able to remove the bubble gum. So now I'm going to finish scuffing up this area so it can all be primered with some filler primer. And then, you know, we'll sand it again. Okay guys, so basically primer's been dry for a few days, so I'm just kind of block sanding down into the primer. So I block sanded this front. Pretty sure it's about as flat as it's gonna get. Block sanded this side. You can see where there was a few tie spots right there. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is get a sponge and sand the rest of this just so it's smooth. And then I'm gonna mix up some surface primer. You know, I'm gonna have to sand this just to smooth it out. There wasn't a question if this was flat. You know what I mean? So I just covered it with filler primer. I'm gonna scuff it so it's, you know, give the surface primer something to adhere to. So I'm gonna surface prime the entire cabinet, the outside of it, the full sides, the top, the back, the front. Then we'll wait for that surface primer to dry, and then sand it down with a sponge sander or a sponge, fine grit sponge, and then be ready for paint. So I still got to take out this power block here. This next clip might be, or a clip before the end of this video will be me putting a power cord on this and running some leads to come up here to the switch and back down. It'll just be extra long wires that when I get them in here, I'll cut them to where they need to go, if that makes sense. I still have that TV outside, K7000 on my workbench, that I'm going to swap a tube in here for a 7000 and mount the 7000 chassis on the steel. This will have to be washed and cleaned, so that'll be coming up. So yeah, I think I want to remove this handle as well. I don't think I want to paint this with that handle on there, because you know when I spray this, it's gonna leave like shit behind here. I don't think it'll look right. That all makes sense. So anyways, I'm rambling on. It's this finally dried up when we glued that. I think I recorded. No, I didn't. I might knock this shit out, cut new pieces of wood and glue in there, because yeah, that's just not, it didn't glue all the way. Son of a bitch. Alright, so what I did here is I knocked that broken crappy wood off. I don't understand why I didn't see it before. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. Maybe I saw it and just didn't want to deal with it. I don't know. This cabinet's been it's been hard for me to stay excited about this cabinet. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the game itself, because I enjoy playing the game. I think it's a beautiful game, but I don't know what it is, guys, this time. I think what I've come to find is I don't like repairing this type plywood. The particle board just seems so much easier to work with, and it's like every time I turn around there's a new spot that's peeling, or I mean, like this right here, guys. Fine example. I never saw this until literally right now. See that? So now I'm gonna have to take some time and get some super glue down in there and get this squeezed back down. And it's just like every time I turn around, and no, I haven't filmed it all. It's just every time it's just something different. Like, this should have been done before I even did any primering, but I didn't notice it literally till now. So I'll have to get like me a syringe, squirt some super glue up in here, put a piece of wood on here, and then just clamp it for a half hour or so, and then deal with the squeegee glue and sanding it down that's on top of the primer. So that's just the stuff that's been irritating me. Alright guys, got it glued and clamped down, and I'm sweating like an MFer. It's really hot in here, so yeah, fun. Okay guys, so I got a new piece glued and stapled in here. I take a rag and wipe that glue out so it's not interfering with the door. So there we go. Also, that piece is glued in now. You know, the little piece that was coming up off of there. Alright guys, I am going to cut the notch in the bottom of this door now. So this is the top door. I have it marked. It's basically the top outside and whereabouts the lock hole, so I know what orientation my door is. Now on the original door, we'd be looking at the back of the lock right now. There's a slot or a groove cut in here. So I made me a double-decker board that I can clamp down and get the right depth, meaning from this edge in. And then I'm going to just route this, cutting down that groove, hopefully. I think I'm gonna have to readjust this so this is out more. If it works, we'll check it out in a minute. So you can see I made one single pass. The reason why I had to use two boards is because in order for this to ride on a board, this would have made it too deep. So now my dilemma is, if I lower this down more, this nut in here where the shank of this bit will be going into the wood because it's bigger around than this bearing. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to loosen that and pull the shank out some so I have some more adjustment. If that makes sense. See how much space is there now? I'm going to pull a little bit more out so I can get deeper without, running my nut into the wood. Alright guys, now you can see how the actual shank has a little bit more length coming out. That'll allow me to get in deeper into the wood without running my nut into this wood up here. This nut. So I think that looks about right. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting that out now. Alright, so here it is, all cut out. So the way that I have this depth set with these two boards sitting on top, I'll just have to measure the distance back on the bottom side door and clamp this down and run the router right through it. It's so much easier than the po' boy data that I was doing on the last doors, like the NARC door and all that. It does work, but it kind of puts a bit of a tension on the saw blade to keep pulling it through there a little bit at a time. It can get it pinched or whatever, and it wears on the bearings on these motors. That's how I kind of destroyed my first table. So I wanted to try this. It works out good. I hope I explained it well enough if one of you guys want to try it. All right, there, That's the finished piece. It's been sanded. I got a little mark where the center of the lock hole needs to be. I will recess it down a little bit with an 1 1/8 inch fly bit, and then drill the rest of the way through with a 5/8 bit. That'll fit a lock. So, okay guys, so here's the old back door. It's warped like an MF'er, but I got a hinge right there. I'm gonna remove the bolts, and then that'll leave me with the holes. Then I can square up this old door with the new door and mark those exact holes for the hinge for the new door. I don't know if I showed it or not, but I did replace a piece of wood here. That was all broken. It's just one solid piece. That does have a hole in it, but it's not going anywhere. So what I think I'm gonna do is I might end this video here, guys. I don't know how many clips I have. In the next video you'll see this becoming primer. The back doors will be primered, and all the holes for the locks and hinges will be drilled. I ordered some new glass from Phoenix Arcade with you know, the screened on print. I can't remember if this light works. I really would like to use it, so I think we might test this light. I got the monitor to put together and all that kind of stuff, and maybe we'll get to black paint on this where it should be. Alright guys, like, subscribe, share, shit like that. See you on the next one. Alright, peace.
I want food. I want food. I want food.
Shut up.
I just want a piece of steak with barbecue sauce.